Welcome to another Coffee and Conversations session. As it says on the screen, recordings of these sessions are publicly available on our website and on YouTube. And feel free to ask questions as we go along. It's great to be bringing people together online to discuss topics of interest to the broader outdoors. So as we start, just like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the various lands where we gather across the state, and we pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the important roles that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples play in relation to the land, sky and waterways that are used for outdoor activities. I'm in Brisbane or Meanjin on Yagara country, which is Jagera and Turrbal people's lands. Feel free to use the chat as we go along. If you want to, you can pop in there the land that you're coming from. Yeah, we'll move along. So we also acknowledge the funding and support provided by the Queensland government for outdoor activities right across Queensland, including the funding that allows Outdoors Queensland to do our work, and acknowledge the work that various government departments and ministers do and have done in the past in relation to outdoor activities, including our friends at Sport and Recreation in the Department of Tourism, Innovation and Sport, whose work we do appreciate. So as I said, welcome to another Coffee and Conversation session. This is our 10th episode of Coffee and Conversation for 2023. My name is Dom Courtney. I'm Executive Officer of Outdoors Queensland. And Mark Squires is my co-host today. We saw Mark zoom in on himself just as I mentioned him. Thanks to Mark and the rest of the Outdoors Queensland team for their work. Welcome all members of Outdoors Queensland and others who are joining us. I just noticed we've got Renee from Cape York Motorcycle Adventures, who are our newest member. So welcome, Renee, and thank you for joining Outdoors Queensland. That's great to see. As I said, the recordings are publicly available, and please feel free to ask questions and make comments as we go along. A bit of an agenda there, some announcements, a little bit about training and development, some information, some consultation, and a little bit on research as we go along. So, as I say, if you've got anything you want to add, please sing out. Happy to make it a true conversation, not just me rabbiting on. As we get started, some of you might have already noticed that Outdoors Queensland, we've started using the image on the screen in our e-newsletters and online. We've got a local Indigenous artist, Matthew Hogarth, who has a business, Hogarth Arts. He's generously licensed use of that design in our corporate documents and on our website, and also our latest uniform shirts we've got using his design. On the 14th of October, so only 8 days away now, we've got the referendum about whether to change the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Voting's already opened this week, and I think they set up to 1 million people have pre-polled, which is amazing. Australians seem to like the early voting. Outdoors Queensland is certainly not telling people how they should vote in the referendum, but we encourage everyone to access the necessary information before voting. The question for the referendum, as you're probably well aware, is that a proposed law to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. And then it says, do you approve this proposed alteration? Apparently you do have to write yes or no, not just tick or cross the box. So I'm sure they'll be ramming that down our throats when we go to vote. But yeah, just wanted to flag that as obviously an important societal issue that's going on, and yeah, flag it here, acknowledge its importance. The Outdoors Queensland Awards, they recognise and reward excellence across our community It's all about celebrating individuals, organisations, programs, events and activities that improve outcomes for participants, clients and our communities. So the awards dinner will be held on Friday, 27th of October from 6 o'clock at St Regis South Bank in Brisbane. We are back to a face-to-face dinner for the first time since 2019, which is awesome. Really looking forward to seeing people face-to-face in that sort of gathering. But the dinner, as much as it is the awards dinner, it's not just about award winners and finalists. It's really a chance to come together in a social setting to celebrate the achievements of everyone across the outdoor sector over many years. So hope to see as many people as possible at the dinner. A massive thank you to our sponsors, the Queensland Government, K2 Base Camp and Active Queenslanders Industry Alliance, our returning sponsors, but we also have 2 new sponsors this year in Beck Fox, Unleash Your Power and Equipped Outdoors, which is awesome to see. So please check out the website for more info. Tickets are selling fast. So we've also got some stuff out on social media promoting that. So yeah, it'd be wonderful to see plenty of people joining us at the awards. And thanks for sharing that link, Mark. Just like to introduce a special guest today. So as part of the Activate Queensland strategy, Sport and Recreation are coordinating the first Queensland Sport and Recreation annual industry survey. I hope I've got that right. But and it's about collecting data to measure the impact of sport and recreation industry's capacity and capability. So I'd like to introduce Melina Simjanovic, who's the Principal Project Officer, Analysis, Insights and Evaluation at Sport and Rec, to tell us more about the survey. I'll just stop my share, Melina, and you should be right to share your screen with us.
Okay, see if this works.
It's having a think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can see your presentation now.
Yeah, you can see it.
You might want to make it into presenter view or for the slideshow view.
If I go there, it goes on both of my screens.
Oh, okay.
It gets hard, then I can't see people. Is it big enough?
Yeah, I can read it. Yep. If everyone's happy.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, well, hello everyone, and thanks for inviting us, Dom, just to give a bit of an overview. And I guess this is the first annual industry survey that Sport and Rec is conducting, and just a bit of context and where it's sort of come from, and I guess taking a little bit of a different angle and looking at part of Activate Queensland and our outcomes framework in measuring the success of the strategy. So that's the 10-year strategy up to 2029, and we're currently in the second action plan. And to measure the success of the strategy, it's sort of the 2 big key factors there. It's trying to encourage to get Queenslanders participating more often and in greater number of opportunities within the sport and rec sector. And then also in trying to increase, I guess, the sport and rec industry to have with greater capacity and capability, so that we actually as an industry can meet current and emerging trends and needs to be able to be available and accessible, I guess, for as many Queenslanders as possible. So part of measuring these success factors in our strategy, the aim of the survey is actually to pick up on this second one when we're talking about the capacity and capability of the industry. And this is a really hard sort of topic or area, I guess, in covering, and there's nothing really out there in data or research really to measure a bit of the trend of the industry and how we're tracking over time. So the whole purpose of the industry survey is really to try and pick up the perceptions of all organisations within the active industry, so both in sport and recreation sector, and perception of basically capability and capacity that each organisation is sort of their current levels, and then to sort of track that annually. This will be an annual survey to see, is the trend moving? Are we getting more people, I guess, working within the sector, and then we're able to be more capable to deliver to meet the needs of Queenslanders. And then it's also picking up a bit about the collaboration, both within organisations within the sector, and then also with sport and rec, and how sport and rec may be able to assist and support the sector to really enhance the capability and capacity as much as possible. So just a bit of an overview on the survey. So I understand, Dom, you forwarded that through to your members.
Yeah, we'll send a bulletin out. It didn't make it in time for our monthly one, but we will send a separate bulletin out so that people have the link to the survey and everything else. So, and some info that you guys sent us. So,
yeah, okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so basically who we're sort of looking to sort of survey. So it's been sent out through Outdoors Queensland to forward on to members, and it's also been sent out to the state sporting level organisations and recipients in our active clubs in our previous round 2 and 3s who were grant recipients. So that is probably about half of them are in the recreation sector as well as the sports sector. And so I guess it's sort of a way the survey can be forwarded through to other people. It's a very open link. So we're trying to pick up not those that are just directly in contact with receiving grants through sport and rec, but to try and pick up sort of the perceptions of as many people in the sector and organisations in the sector as possible. What we're looking at to measuring, so as I said before, it's sort of the perceptions of the organisations on your capability and capacity, and certain measures in what we're looking at in capability and capacity is about equipment and resources, the skills and knowledge of people within the sector, as well as the systems and processes. So sort of dividing in those large chunks of areas, it's a way that we're able to start to measure what is the current capability and capacity, and then how can we actually enhance that, and what may be through potential funding programs in the future or additional support that either sport and rec or through Outdoors Queensland or other organisations, Play by the Rules, and other organisations within the sector that may be able to assist with. We're looking at the collaboration within other recreation organisations, as well as with sport and rec, and as well as how the collaboration in how your organisations perceive Outdoors Queensland as well. So that's sort of what we're looking at in the collaboration space. And then the third part to the survey is picking up about the needs and opportunities, I guess, in what you're perceiving you would like or maybe beneficial for support that's outside of the standard funding programs, or what else your opinion, I guess, is over how we could actually enhance a bit more of the capability and capacity so that the sector's as strong as possible to deliver to Queenslanders and what they're actually after. The survey is fairly short, so it's really 5 to 10 minutes to complete. And there's a few instructions on it in, the types of things, so that hopefully you can find the right representation of your organisation to complete the survey. But having said that, if you would like a copy of what the survey is, one person sort of emailed us to ask for a PDF of the full survey. I'm very happy to distribute that out as well if that makes it easier prior to completing it. But you can actually save the survey and come back in and finish completing it. So you could easily forward the link through to other people as well to complete. The survey will be open until the 25th of October, so it's roughly 3 weeks. And then after that, the department will complete a bit of an analysis and then provide summary reports to each of the different sectors within the industry, and then the overarching of the industry in general. So hopefully that's a way of where we can currently sort of see what the snapshot is looking like. And then Dom mentioned another Outdoors Queensland survey that's being conducted. So it's sort of through both this survey and others then that we can actually then form a bit of a wider picture in where is the current landscape, what's the environment looking like, and then how we can actually enhance it in the future. I just wanted to, I guess, throw out recognising in the recreation sector space, especially, it's not always very structured, organised sport type of, or structured, I guess, organised organisations either. So I encourage you to complete it based on your group and interest. That's, you know, it doesn't always need to be in that structured organisation space. And I guess as you're doing the survey, if you do have a few sort of areas for suggestions, or think it's not really asking the right questions to really tap into that recreation space, that I'm hoping we can go through Dom and sort of contact Dom, express your views, and then Dom can sort of forward them through to the department so that we can keep enhancing it and really maximise it, so that we can really see clearly, I guess, in that recreation space as much as possible as well, and what may be needed in the future. Is there any general comments, questions?
I've got one, Melina, for you, but
Yep,
I've already done
sure.
it on behalf of Outdoors Queensland. I can say it was pretty quick, like it wasn't a long, painful survey, which is great. And I do encourage others. So we want it to really be on behalf of organisations. It does go deeper than the Census survey that we did recently, that a lot of people in our network have already filled out. Would you like us, like, we'll provide a report from that Census that might also inform some of what the department's doing. So that's probably another one that we can feed that in, but it's probably still worthwhile for organisations who did our survey to still fill in this one, considering it's nice and quick too.
Yeah, that would be super. And yeah, the more forms of different ways we can join data together as well, it really does create a bigger insight into what the picture really is, and where we can tap future support. Yeah.
Yep, great. Does anyone else have any questions for Melina about the survey, or about what what this is going to inform as part of Activate Queensland's strategy?
And I guess just throwing it out there too, Dom, if anyone has any general comments in what you would like to see sort of after it, as far as a summary or honing in once you've done the survey, I would really like to focus on this area a little bit more and gain more detailed results, if that can be fed back through to, and we can really make it a tailored sort of specific report and summary at the end too for each of the different sectors in the industry.
Yeah, great. No, that's really good. So yeah, if anyone does have any comments that you want to pass on through me, yeah, more than happy to just send them through to me, and I'll pass them through. Yeah, as we get towards the end of the process. So thank you very much for joining us today, Melina. I really appreciate it. So yeah, and it's great to see the work that you're doing in relation to the entire active industry. So well done on that.
Thanks heaps.
Thanks. And feel free to join us, but if you need to leave to go to another meeting or actually do other work, please, up to you. So yeah, thanks. All right, I'll get the share going again for the PowerPoint, and hopefully the world will keep working for me. It looks like it is. The thumbs up on that presentation, I think, is working. So awesome. Still on Sport and Rec, actually. The Minor Infrastructure and Inclusive Facilities Fund. This was a program that's just opened up in the last week or so. It says there 27th of September on the screen if I was reading. It's a $45 million funding pool, which is available to help make sure local Queensland sport and active recreation facilities are safe, accessible, inclusive, and more efficient. So there's information about this one on the website, and those key dates are there on the screen. Really important to check out the website for details around eligibility on that one, but also contact the Sport and Rec offices across the state, your local Sport and Rec office, to have a chat to them about that and speak to the really helpful staff there if you are looking at applying for that funding. Really worthwhile. There are a couple of other Sport and Rec funding opportunities open at the moment, including, I think, the Emerging Athletes Pathway funding, and there was another one, I've forgotten which one it is now. So Joe, I don't know if you can help me out on that one, but it's all available on the website.
It is, Dom. I'd have to do a check on the First Nations if that's currently open. I think Fair Play recently closed, so
It might have been Fair Play I was thinking of, but I thought it had
okay.
closed. Yeah, the Fair
Yeah.
Play vouchers. So yeah, cool. Thanks, Joe. You bailed me out.
No problem.
Thanks. This one, the Queensland Outdoor Census, we sort of mentioned it while Melina was speaking. Our census survey closed at the end of July, and we had hundreds of responses, which is terrific. A massive thank you to everyone who completed the survey and everyone who encouraged other organisations to complete it. We will be releasing a detailed report shortly. Yeah, we'll get some information through to Sport and Rec, as I said earlier. But it's also important that other outdoor organisations complete that Sport and Rec survey, even if you've done our survey. I just saw, Renee, you said that link's not working in that the Sport and Rec survey one. We'll have to check that one. Okay, we'll make sure we get the right link when we send out email after this. Thank you for letting us know.
I might just jump in there, Dom. So
yeah.
if it has been forwarded and the actual the button that goes directly to the survey doesn't work, there's a hyperlink in the top text of the actual email, and that one will definitely work if people are forwarding. It doesn't, sometimes
no worries. That might be the problem. All right, I'll just check that one and I'll make sure Mark's got the right link. So thanks. All right. A couple of consultation announcements. It'd be better if I could spell consultation. I just noticed at the top of the screen. Believe me, that's what that word says. Back in August, we had Daniel Hughes from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. He joined this session in August to discuss the review of the Australian and New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations, or ANZSCO. Which is actually all about statistics and understanding the workforce, as it says there, the modern Australian labour market. So round 2 included allied health and tourism occupations, which are relevant to the outdoor sector. But round 3 is opening next week, and it includes arts and recreation and sports occupations. And for some strange reasons, the occupations like fishing guide, hunting guide, outdoor adventure instructor, and trekking guide, and bungee jump master, which is one of my favourites. They're all under the sports activities heading, not under arts and recreation, if you are looking for those. But they are included in this round 3 review. So we will provide some feedback to the process so that the ABS understands what this modern Australian labour market really looks like. But I'd encourage others to have a look at it as well. So that consultation round 3 opens next, must be Tuesday, I think, the 10th. So it's worth a look, and we'll keep an eye on that one as well. The Queensland Cycling Action Plan for 2023 to 25, that was released early September. So it sets out the practical actions that the Queensland government is going to implement for the next 3 years to encourage more people to ride bikes. This is the 3rd action plan under the Queensland Cycling Strategy, which is actually a great thing to see. It's all about getting some of those actions that were identified in the Queensland Cycling Strategy. The action plan puts it into practice, I guess. So it's good to see that new action plan was released, and it's something that we'll certainly keep working with the government on, and working towards more people cycling more often, which is a wonderful thing, as well as other outdoor activities. There's a couple of ones, and it seems like maybe it's because it's the end of the year, but the federal government has announced a couple of things from earlier this year. So we had consultation in relation to the federal government's domestic commercial vessel safety review. That one, they've released this report, they published the report from the independent panel for the review this week. I haven't gone through the entire review report yet, but the impression is they're recommending that government should simplify the regulatory system for vessels. So this is all about human-powered craft like kayaks and canoes, and also sailboats currently are under the same regulations as oil tankers and passenger ferries, and it's pretty convoluted. There are a lot of exemptions, such as for schools, where you don't have to come under the ANZSCO rules, but if you're a private provider who's taking school kids paddling, you do come under it because you're doing it for commercial purposes. So it's a little bit complicated, but what they've said in this report is they've recognised that kayaks, canoes, human-powered craft are the lowest risk category, and they are saying the recommendation is that they should take a risk-based approach to how this regulation works. So it looks like it's a good thing if all these recommendations are implemented, and we just have to keep an eye on what that looks like once it gets to legislation, I guess. But we made a submission, and we actually met with the review panel as the Outdoor Council of Australia, which Outdoors Queensland's a member of. But a big thank you to all the organisations who contributed to submissions on behalf of the outdoor sector, and also thanks to my colleagues from the Outdoor Council of Australia for a lot of work that went into that one. So it looks like it's a good outcome. We just have to see what happens once it gets to the legislation point of view. So I should just pause and check if there's any questions as we go along. Please feel free to put your hand up, or just if I do stop for a breath, happy to have people talk. So go straight ahead. The next one, which is the Federal Privacy Act review, which has also been under review this year. And there was consultation at the start of the year, and I've spelt consultation right on that one, Mark. You'll be happy to know. So they've just last week again, they released the response to the Privacy Act report. It does say that they're going to enhance the privacy protections provided to individuals, but the big piece is, one of the things that's in the current Federal Privacy Act is there's an exemption for small business, and they're talking about removing that exemption or reducing the exemption. And we flagged in a submission that this could have big impacts for small business, and particularly for clubs and incorporated associations. So we made a point in our submission to say, don't forget about all of the various organisations that come under small business. They do say in their report that they won't make changes until they have a full understanding of the impacts, and they work with small business to ensure everyone understands what these changes could mean. So I haven't read the entire report. It's another nice big report. It specifically has some other recommended changes, which they did flag during the process, about privacy requirements for children and people experiencing vulnerability. So making it quite, I guess, or more onerous, I suppose, as far as what you need to do to protect the privacy of children and people experiencing vulnerability, which I think is to reflect community standards of expectations in that space. So there is some important changes coming in this, and it will have flow-on effects, I think, for a lot of particularly small business who has been exempt from this Federal Privacy Act in the past. So I just wanted to flag that one. We'll keep an eye on it, but they have released their report just last week. So cool. We talked about this one in September, the draft Shaping SEQ, the South East Queensland Regional Plan update. We made a submission to that process in September on behalf of the outdoor industry. Our submission was mostly saying, we emphasise the importance of planning for outdoor spaces as part of this regional plan, and ensuring that the public had access to green space. The plan itself, the draft plan that they released, already did flag that, particularly in relation to the livability of an area of Queensland where I think they it says on the screen there, 72.6% of the Queensland population live in southeast Queensland. So you can imagine the pressure on some of our green spaces. So, and then they're talking about that population growth. So we did a submission in relation to that as well. And we'll wait and see what comes from that. And we also put a submission in on the Nerang National Park, which is getting down to the almost micro level, but the local level. It is a regionally significant area for outdoor activities, particularly mountain biking at Nerang. So we've made a submission on that, and our submissions are all available on our website if you're interested in having a look at that. So yes. The Outdoors New South Wales and ACT Climate Change Committee, so this is our friends across the border, they're seeking responses to an Australia-wide survey regarding the outdoor industry's position on climate change. And this is an important piece of research that's being done. So their survey, I understand, is still open. So they want to get as many stakeholders to complete that survey as possible. Seems to be a lot of surveying going on, but I think if we fill it out, they'll have better results, particularly if they get, Australia-wide responses to that survey. And there's a story about that survey, a link to the survey on our website. And I think Mark's just, I've got ahead of you, Mark, haven't quite shared that one yet, but there's a link on that to that survey online if you're interested. This one, Get Ready Queensland, Get Ready Queensland Week for this year. I looked online. I'm not exactly sure when we should start getting ready. I think the answer is the best time to start getting ready for natural disasters is yesterday, and the second best time is today. So it looks like their first of their launch events is today and runs through until next weekend. There's going to be a series of different launch events and that sort of thing, but there's heaps of resources on their website to encourage people to get ready for, I guess, particularly the summer, with whether it's bushfire or cyclone or flood, etc. And we can know that some of these natural disasters occur any time of the year, but it is a ramp up in the lead up to summer that the Get Ready Queensland campaign's all about. So as I say, it's about preparedness for any emergency or natural disaster. And right now that's already happening in some parts of Australia. I heard on the radio this morning, they interviewed a farmer down in Victoria who in the same week was told to move his cattle from the bush area down towards the river to avoid a possible bushfire. And then a few days later, he was told to move his cattle away from the river to avoid the oncoming flood. And you're like, that's the same property. It's amazing. So I think, probably for outdoors people, we tend to be good at getting ready for different things, but it's a good reminder that this is potentially coming into that sort of season. So just wanted to flag that one as well for Get Ready Queensland Week next week. Any questions, comments on that one? No? Cool. I'm going back to another reminder for the Outdoors Queensland Awards. The night of nights for Queensland outdoor sector, Friday the 27th of October at Ridges South Banking here in Brisbane. A big thank you to the Outdoors Queensland board and staff who are doing so much work to make sure it will be such a success as it has been in previous years. Tickets are going fast. We're not just saying that to hype it up. So if you are keen to join us, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, it won't just be me jibber jabbering through. I'm not even going to MC it. So you get a break from my questionable sense of humor at times. Please check it out on the website. And we look forward to seeing as many people as possible at the event. So, a few reminders. I don't think we've got anyone from inside the outhouse here today. Just checking. No, I'm not sure when their next session is. They do an online session of a Monday afternoon, and they're just getting into the wonderful difficulties of a national online forum with daylight saving and different time zones. So they'll probably enjoy that over the next few weeks and get a session going. I've got that, the outdoor wants and needs survey. That one was actually more about the different surveys I mentioned today. And just a reminder of our website, our e-bulletins and our social media. We've got plenty of resources there and really would appreciate if you have any questions, you can always give us a call or send us an email, but also check out our online resources that are there for you as members of the community. Really, if you let us know if you think there's other resources that we could have or should be looking at. So yeah, that pretty much brings us towards the end of the scheduled session. Are there any other topics anyone would like to flag, whether it's for discussion now, we've got a little bit of time, or for next session in November? No, I saw a head shake and a smile. All right, well, we might finish up there, then get an early mark. So thanks again to Melina for joining us. Don't forget about the Sport and Rec industry survey. Really great to see everyone here today, and would love to see as many people as possible at the awards in a few weeks' time. So we'll finish up there. Our next Coffee and Conversation session will be Friday the 3rd of November. A massive thanks to all the Outdoors Queensland members, volunteers and staff who contribute to what this organisation does. And just sign off with my little catchphrase of be kind to the planet, be kind to others, and be kind to yourselves. Thanks for joining us today.